In this video, I go over the properties of algebra. You can refresh in your book with this or watch along with these. Page 18 of your workbook is where I'm at. An algebraic expression consists of coefficients, and that is the number in front of the variable. The variable is the letter representing any number, and a term is a product of a coefficient and a variable. So terms are separated by plus and minus, and factors are when we multiply. So for example, if we just look at these monomials here, t, and we have 2x, so 2x, 2 is a factor and x is a factor. 3st, 3 is a factor, s is a factor, and t is a factor, and so on and so forth. So in the problem, or in the monomial here, 5a b cubed c, 5 is our coefficient, and we have 3 different variables. We have an a to the first power, b cubed, and a c. So evaluating expressions, example 1.16. Find the value of the expression 2x minus y plus 4 when x equals -5 and y equals 6. It's really important to differentiate that we have expressions which do not have equal signs, and we are just combining like terms or distributing, simplifying in those ways. We won't end up with a number unless we just started with all numbers, constants, for instance, when we don't have any variables, or we're substituting in and evaluating like we are here. We're going to put these numerical values in for the variables, and then we'll end up with all numbers, and we can crunch those numbers. Sometimes your variable terms will literally cancel out, like I'll have a -2x plus 2x, and they go to 0. But we're not solving anything with expressions. We're not balancing two sides of an equation, right? We're just streamlining down. So if we go ahead and substitute in this -5 for x, everywhere we see an x, we're going to put -5, and the 6, everywhere we see a y, we're going to put 6. So go ahead and do that and crunch the numbers. So we have 2 times -5 minus 6 plus 4. I really don't need the parentheses here, but that's fine to have them as well. It's just holding a value. So we're going to go ahead now and crunch the numbers, and the only equal I have is to show that this expression equals this one, and so on and so forth. I'm not solving anything. So we have 2 times -5 is -10 minus 6 plus 4. Then just go ahead and make those calculations. You can work left to right. So we would have -16 plus 4, and our final answer is -12. Make sure you mark your answers. For the next one, example 1.17, I'm going to have you try that on your own. Go ahead and plug in 3 for x and -4 in for y. Everywhere you see the y. The expression is x squared minus 2xy plus y squared. Okay, so now I've gotten everything plugged in. Remember to use parentheses when you plug in so you don't end up getting the wrong sign when you square something or raise it to any even power. So 3 squared is going to be 9 minus 2 times 3 times minus 4. We're going to end up with a 24 there. It'll be positive, actually. This is a case where you might want to go plus the opposite so that you can clearly see that the -2 and the -4 multiplied together will give you a positive 8 times 3, so it's a positive 24. And then this -4 all squared is going to be a positive 16. And again, it's just like I'm working one side of an equals not solving any equation. This is just an expression. Keep repeating that because that's a big common mistake people make. They somehow try to balance it off. So the answer for that is 49. Okay, next we're going to combine like terms. This is something that even if you've been out of math for a while, you can figure out how to add the coefficients together if terms have exactly the same variable part, including the exponents. As long as there's not exponents involved, people are usually okay. When we have a bunch of different exponents, it gets a little confusing, so you might want to take a look at that. But again, you can kind of streamline this review chapter to meet your needs. So I'm going to go through this part pretty quickly. I'll just pick, I'm going to pick D to work on, and then leave the rest for you to do, and I'll go and fill in the answers and you can check back with the video. So for D, we have like terms. We have 3x and we have 2x, so that's going to give us 5 x's. It's kind of like 5 apples. And then we have the 5, positive 5, and a minus 3, or you could say negative plus a negative 3. And that is going to give us a positive 2. So it's like 2 oranges. And that would be our answer. Do not put those together. They don't have the same variable part. You can't add apples and oranges. So now go ahead and pause the video and just run through this quick. I'll just put the answers up, see how you did. If you've never seen this before, never done this before, Math 92 may be a better fit for a course for you. Or if it's been like 10 years or maybe even 5 years since you've been out of math, you may need to have the prerequisite refresher course, even if you've had something on your transcript where you tested into this class. This class is really for STEM track, for science and math majors. So it does go pretty quick with the review. But we do have a different kind of class that might better suit your needs. So just if you're worried about that, and as we get into things and they're supposed to be review and they're not, just please email me right away. So here are your answers. 3x plus 4x equals 7x. For B, 7a minus 10a equals negative 3a. C, we have 18y minus 10y plus 6y is 14y. D, we already did together. E is 4a minus 7 minus 2a plus 3 equals 2a minus 4. And for F, we have 5x plus 8 minus x minus 6 is equivalent to 4x plus 2. We end up with expressions. We don't have like terms in our answers, so we're just going to leave it just as is. Now the next part is distributing, and that again, usually people are pretty familiar with, but I'll go through the basics with you, and then there might be a couple things that are a little trickier. Okay, so for the last piece of this, we're going to do distribution. So the concept is like this. If I had 2 apples and 1 banana, and I'm putting them into 3 lunch bags, then that would mean I would have 3 sets of 2 apples plus 1 banana. I could just write B instead of the 1B. And how that would work if I added them all up, imagine these are my lunch bags, and I have 2 apples in there, and I have a banana, that one, 2 apples and a banana in the second one, 2 apples and a banana in the third one. All together, I would have 6 apples. If I added those all up, 6 apples and 3 bananas. So the shortcut to that would be just to distribute, multiply. So I have 3 sets of 2 apples, so that would be my 6a. And I have 3 sets of 1 banana, so that would be my 3b. And I can just multiply this number right next to the parenthesis there. That's called my multiplier. And I distribute it to every term in the parentheses, okay, in that expression. So my final answer would be 6a plus 3b. So using that principle right here, which is called the distributive property, go ahead and see if you can do the problems A and B on this page. I'll do one of them with you and then you can do the other. Also start thinking too in reverse. If we were starting with the AB plus AD, you could look at what's common and factor it out. So we're going to do some factoring later. I don't know if you've had any experience with that at all. You may not have. So start thinking of when we build things, how we can actually pull them back apart and work backwards. So this one here, example 1.19, it's negative 2 times quantity 5x minus 4y plus 3. So I would distribute this negative 2 to every term here. So I always like to draw these arrows. So negative 2 times 5x would be negative 10x. Negative 2 times negative 4y, or you could think of it as plus negative, right? So that would be a positive 8y. So really watch your signs there. Negative 2 times 3 is going to be a negative 6, or subtract 6. So I'm streamlining, I'm going quick. If this is the first time you've seen it, again, make sure you talk to me right away. You really probably want to take Math 92 where you learn this from scratch. So for part B, this may be a little bit different for you. So if you struggled with this one, don't worry too much about that. You may not have multiplied exponentials before. So 4x, and we will cover that. I will review that with you. So if we have 4x times 7x squared, this is as if it's x to the first power, and we just add the exponents. So it's saying that instead of it's separating them out as factors, we're clumping them together. So it would be 4 times 7 times x times x times x. So I'll go over that in the exponents and scientific notation portion of the course. So we would have 28x cubed minus 24x squared plus 4x. So again, don't worry too much on that one if you haven't seen it before. So now we're down to our last few problems of chapter 1. We have example 1.20, or maybe it's 1.20. Simplify by distributing, then combine like terms. So first we need to deal with the parentheses. We're not going to do what's inside the parentheses because there's not like terms. If there were like terms inside the parentheses, I would go ahead and combine them. But my only choice here is to distribute. So I have 5 times 2x is going to give me 10x. 5 times the minus 8 is minus 40. And then the minus 3 just comes down. Now I'm going to combine like terms. So I have 10x minus 43. And that would be my final answer. For B, be really careful. It's very tempting. Somebody might want to do the subtraction first just because it's kind of sticking out there. 7 minus 3 times quantity 2y plus 1. We really have to make sure we deal with our parentheses first, our grouping symbols. We can't combine what's inside. They're not like terms, but we can distribute. And this is where it might be really helpful to make this subtract be plus negative 3. That way, when you're distributing, you don't get your signs mixed up. So 7 plus negative 3 times 2y would be negative 6y. And then the negative 3 times 1 is plus negative 3. And then I can go back and streamline it after. So I would have negative 6y and then just a plus 4. Usually we want our variable term first. On the last one, I have a couple of sets of parentheses going on, so I'm just going to take them left, right. So I have the 5 times x would be 5x. 5 times 2, so I have a subtract. 5 times 2 is minus 10. Now here, this one is as if it's a 1, or better yet, plus -1. And then I'm going to distribute that. Again, you should have seen this before, but you might have forgotten. It's pretty typical to forget this. So then we have plus -1 times 3x is minus 3x. And then minus 1 times the positive 4 is going to be minus 4. Now combine like terms, and we have 5x minus 3x is 2x. Minus 10 minus 4 is going to be minus 14. So our final answer is 2x minus 14. So I hope that helps you get refreshed on the Chapter 1 skills. So just try to work through the homework pretty quickly and do the paper homework, and you will get access to the solutions, and then there'll be a quiz posted for you. And once you get all that done, then start in Chapter 2. Have a great day.